The book Ma'aseh Rav, Customs of the Rabbi, details the practices of the Vilna Gaon. In the Laws of Purim, section 250, it deems Psalm 22 as the song of the day for Purim. A source for this custom is the Talmud, which discusses the phrase Ayelet HaShachar. It has a number of interpretations, and some of them say it refers to Queen Esther. One interpretation of Ayelet is that it is a deer, and Shachar means dawn. Based on this, Rabbi Avahu says, just as the antlers of the hind branch off this way and that way, so the light of the dawn is scattered in all directions. Rabbi Zera says, why was Esther compared to an antelope? To tell you, just as an antelope has a narrow womb and is desirable to her mate at all times, as much as the first time, so too was Esther precious to Achashverosh at all times as she was the first time. Rabbi Asi says that why was Esther compared to the dawn? To tell you that just as the dawn is the end of the whole night, so is the story of Esther the end of all the miracles. Rabbi David ben Yoseph Kimchi, frequently referred to as the Radak, extensively discusses the phrase as follows. He starts with a musical analysis where Lamnat Seik is an address to the conductor of the orchestra, and Ayelet HaShachar is a musical instrument. However, Ayelet can mean vigorous and robust, and this is the simple understanding of it later in the psalm. This is an allusion to the strength of the first rays of the morning sun. Therefore, some commentaries call it the morning star. Some commentaries say that it refers to Esther and Israel when they were in exile at that time. Others say it refers to David when he was fleeing from King Saul. The correct interpretation is that it is about the congregation of Israel that is in this exile. This is proved by the end of the psalm, where the use of the term ayelet is like the metaphor in the Song of Songs, like the deer and the antelope, ayalot of the field. Dawn, Shachar, is understood as beautiful and bright, like who is it that gazes out like the dawn? Now she is in darkness as if she has been forgotten and abandoned, and we are calling to her from the exile. The Talmud in Tractate Megillah relates this song to the thoughts of Queen Esther when she risked her life to plead before King Achashverosh not to destroy the nation of Israel as follows. Quote, she stood in the inner court of the king's chamber. Unquote. Rabbi Levi said, when she passed a room full of idols, the divine presence departed from her. She then said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? This is from Psalm 22. Dost thou perchance punish the inadvertent offense like the presumptuous one, or one done under compulsion like one done willingly? Or is it because I caused him a dog, as it says, deliver my soul from the sword, my only one, from the power of the dog. She straightway retracted and called him lion, as it says, save me from the lion's mouth. And it was when the king saw Esther, the queen, another quote from Megillas Esther, Rabbi Yochanan explains, 3 ministering angels were appointed to help her at that moment, one to make her head erect, a second to endow her with charm, and a third to stretch the golden scepter. The theme of Psalm 22 is the suffering of the righteous in the exile. Sometimes it seems that all of the misery they are suffering is pointless. This meaningless pain makes them feel as if Hashem has abandoned them. There is another aspect of exile, which is the subject of Megillas Esther. At that time, the land of Israel was in ruins and under foreign domination. When that happens, even the righteous have a tendency to forget it altogether. Also, the Jews were assimilated, corrupt, and very distant from the faith. As a result, it was difficult even for the righteous to care about them. Aspects of this may have persisted even though the nation was facing annihilation, but in fact really had repented. There is an aspect of this in the Talmud. There it says in the name of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, 3 good gifts did the Holy One, blessed be He, give to Israel, and all of them are not acquired except through suffering. They are Torah, the land of Israel, and the world to come. We see this in the story of Esther. After Haman and his sons were hanged and King Achashverosh makes Mordecai the viceroy, Esther is forced again to risk her life to ask the king to thwart Haman's evil plan. She pleads, how can I look at the evil that will find my people? How can I look at the destruction of my kindred? The word for kindred, moladity, though, also means motherland. This repetition can be understood as adding emphasis. It can also be a subconscious slip of mourning for the miserable state of the land of Israel. This theme is extended on in the book of Daniel. It is also in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah when the Jews actually start returning to the land of Israel. It seems that the absence of the kingdom of heaven on earth gains poignancy when we see the place where it should be strongly manifest precisely the opposite way it should be. This dimension seems to have spread out from Esther. She knew it in her mind before. However, with all the horror, she could now see it in the eye of flesh and blood. The beginning of this idea is when Moshe Rabbeinu lectures the nation of Israel that after the blessings and curses in the Chumash have come true, they will return to their heart in all the places they have been pushed to. After that, Hashem will bring them to the land of Israel where they will sincerely keep the Torah. This idea is developed in Psalm 22. It basically starts out by saying that Hashem dwells in the praises sung by the people of Israel. It then details the horrors of the exile. It concludes with the redemption and the return of the righteous to the land of Israel. The final denouement is a prophecy of Esther. Quote, they shall come and tell his righteousness to a people which will be born that which he has done. Thank you.